Let's see, that'll work. Remember, when was that?
Well, let's see. There were two occasions when I tried to get married. The first time was 1956. Came out of New York on a ship, and we went through the Suez Canal. I wrote to Kimi, sent her money to come up to Yokohama and meet me when I got there, and had no idea of how you got married in Japan if you're a foreigner, you know. Mm-hmm. So I thought the right thing to do was go to the U.S. consulate in Yokohama. They should know what you're supposed to do.
You brought that way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
So we went to the U.S. consulate, and the Japanese clerk behind the counter, when I told him we want to get married, gives us a big stack like this of forms to fill out. And the forms are no problem. Some of them pertain to Kimi, some pertain to me.
Okay.
But the hang-up was that Kimi had to get a copy of her life history form.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't know that Japanese had this, but every Japanese has a life history form. All the important stuff in your life goes on there, including marriages and divorces and so on. So I guess that's why they wanted to have that, to make sure that she wasn't already married.
Okay.
So they don't keep this in a government office. They designate a member of the extended family to hold all these forms. So some uncle, hundreds of miles away down south, had all these forms for the extended family. And when he finds out that she wants to marry a foreigner, he refuses to part with the form.
He's not, yeah.
So Aunt Sarumi was Kimi's champion down there, and she went at it with this uncle. And finally Aunt Sarumi prevailed. And the guy sent the form up, or Aunt Sarumi sent it up. But my ship had sailed by the time that the form arrived, so I promised again I would come back and we'd get married. So when we got back to the States, I went out to the West Coast and walked into the hiring hall there in San Francisco, figuring, no problem, I can get a ship to Japan in no time here. And the guy in charge said, boy, am I glad you're here. I got a ship scheduled to leave for Hawaii tomorrow, and I'm short a man in the boiler room. And I told him, I don't want to go to Hawaii, I want to go to Japan. And he said, just take this one trip for me to Hawaii and back, and I'll get you a ship to Japan. That's not going to take long. Sure, I signed on that ship. Then it turned out that the guy hadn't told me the exact truth, all of it, you know. After Hawaii, the ship was going further out in the Pacific to Guam, and then almost to the equator, to Kwajalein Island. So the trip was a lot longer than a quickie to Hawaii and back. But finally I got back, and I went back to the hall, and I said, I'm back, I'm ready for that ship to Japan. And they said, I haven't got anybody to replace you. Give me another trip. I wound up on there from October to the beginning of February. Finally, I got the ship to Japan, but we were only going to be in port 24 hours on this one. And out of that 24, figuring the hours of the consulate and the hours that I had to be on the ship working and so on, I had a window of about maybe 2.5 hours to get married. So we were there at 9 in the morning when the place opened up, the consulate. We had all the forms and the life history and gave it to the guy behind the counter. And he said, sit down there and wait to see the consul. So we sat there, and I'm looking at my watch. I had to be back at the ship at 10 minutes to 12 in the boiler room, and we were sailing at 1. And we're waiting and waiting and waiting, and it got to be about 11 o'clock. And finally I told Kimi, I can't wait any longer, I got to get back to the ship. She wasn't about to let me escape. She goes
You didn't
over
want to get locked up.
chatters to the guy behind the counter, and he goes out and comes back with the consul. And all the consul did was he had us raise our hands and swear that our answers to these forms were true. And then, as far as I could remember, without another word, he walked out. And now, while we were waiting, the clerk had been filling out a bunch of forms in Japanese. He gave them to Kimi, chattered away to her, and she says, let's go. I don't know what we're doing now. You know, we walk out. Kimi says, get a taxi. I hail a cab. She tells the guy something or another, and away we go. Didn't go far. Pull up in front of this big building. And we go in there, and it was the ward office. And there was a line of desks there. And the first desk was dog licenses. I've never forgotten that. And the second one was marriage registration.
It's a dog's life.
And there was a long line of people standing there at the marriage registration desk. And so I said, I'll have to come back next month, and I don't have time to stand in this line. And again, Kimi is not going to let me escape. She goes right up to the first guy in line and chatters away to him, and he gives us a big smile and a gesture like that. So we went right to the desk, and Kimi turned over the documents, and the guy flips. And then he said something in Japanese, and Kimi said, we got to pay 40 yen. That was 12 cents in those days. So I coughed up the 12 cents. And then he got a stamp. They flip stamp, flip stamp, flip stamp, flip stamp, flip stamp, flip stamp. And then gave us about half of them back, and we ran out, jumped into the taxi, which Kimi had wait. And the guy couldn't get the engine started. Then he got it going. And they took us right back to the console.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Kimi was ready to run into the place with the papers. And I thought I'd get a kiss on my wedding day, and I puckered up and leaned forward, and Kimi tucked out of the way, shook my hand, and said, have a good trip, and ran into the consulate with the papers. So that was my wedding day.
Well played, Mrs. Davis.
Take a picture of the food.
Oh, I was just getting the story on here. Oh, that looks good.
Yeah.
Quite good. All right. Well, happy anniversary. Itadakimasu.